Ángela, Sydney, Kelly, we're going to start.
Okay.
Muy buenos días a todas las personas que se empiezan a unir a nuestra sesión informativa. Mucho gusto a todos. Mi nombre es Karen Martínez. Hago parte del equipo de Relaciones Internacionales y Consejería Académica en Colfuturo y el día de hoy estamos con The University of Texas at Austin. Nos acompaña en esta ocasión Angela Branigan, Sydney Shani y Kelly Weaver. Ellas son representantes de esta institución académica y nos van a hablar sobre una gran variedad de temas que están relacionados a opciones de financiación, oferta académica, hospedaje, ayudas económicas, becas y todas las demás recomendaciones que ellas, como representantes de la universidad y con su experticia, les puedan brindar para todos los interesados en llevar a cabo un posgrado en el exterior. Adicionalmente, en el marco claramente del convenio que tiene Colfuturo con esta universidad, les recuerdo, este ofrece un descuento de aproximadamente el 45% sobre el valor de la matrícula non-resident tuition fee. Entonces, la idea es que todos puedan aprovechar mucho este espacio, que hagan todas las preguntas que tengan, que les vayan surgiendo. Tanto Ángela como Sydney como Kelly, sé que están totalmente dispuestas a responderlas, a solucionar cualquier inquietud, así que no se pierdan esta oportunidad de contactarse directamente con ellas y poder tener y acceder a toda la información a mayor profundidad. Entonces, les quiero recordar también que ya estamos cerrando este mes de noviembre con estos webinars informativos con diferentes universidades de convenio ubicadas en los Estados Unidos, así que no se pierdan estos eventos. Si todavía de pronto tienen algunas dudas sobre el programa Crédito Beca y los servicios que Colfuturo ofrece, los invitamos a nuestras charlas informativas. La próxima la realizaremos el viernes 6 de diciembre a las 8 de la mañana. Entonces, invitados a estar muy pendientes de nuestras redes, de nuestra página web y demás. Sin mayor preámbulo, Angela, Sydney, Kelly, thank you so much for being here today with us. We are so happy to have you here. So you can go ahead and start your presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. As Karen said, my name is Angela Branigan, and I am the Assistant Director for the Sponsored and Exchange Programs unit at Texas Global. I want to clarify that I am a representative of Texas Global who works with incoming international visitors, which is separate from graduate admissions. Today, I am going to present on the university at large, just to give you a basic overview so you have an idea of the offerings that we have. I'll go over student support and resources. I will talk some of the admission process and financial opportunities, and then I'll give you a little information about life in Austin and open it up for questions. Okay, so starting with the university overview, just to give you a quick UT at a glance. UT was founded in 1883 with one building and 221 students. If you flash forward to today, we now have 18 colleges and schools, around 237 graduate degree program offerings, approximately 52,000 students. I did the breakdown there so you can see it's mostly undergraduates, but we have a hefty graduate student population. We have about 24,000 faculty and staff to support all of our students at the university. There are 17 academic libraries across campus, 4 art and history museums, and 15 career centers. So it's changed dramatically since 1883, as you can see. Here's a list of the various college and schools that are at the University of Texas. I do want to note that UT does offer graduate study in 14 of the colleges and schools, and in more than 80 doctoral, and it offers more than 80 doctoral and 120 master degree programs. 49 of our graduate programs are ranked in the top 10 in the United States, and that was a statistic reported by US News and World Report. These programs include petroleum engineering, computer science, educational administration, pharmacy, social work, and accounting. Each year, a little fun fact, the university does award approximately 3,700 graduate degrees. Broken down, that's about 2,900 master's degrees and 800 plus doctoral degrees. So a lot happening at the university. Some rankings. UT is the #1 public university in Texas. We are #7 in the United States. and number 43 globally. So I think we have good rankings, and we're pretty proud of that. As far as excellence in research is concerned, I know a lot of graduate students are interested in this. UT is one of the world's leading research universities. We support cutting edge research in all disciplines and offer more than 200 dedicated research units and centers. As indicated on the slide, as you can see, UT is number 6 among US universities for research that's financed by the National Science Foundation. We are number 4 in the world for the most patents granted. And we spend about 1.4 billion in research each year, which is quite a bit of money. Excuse me. Here, outside of academics and research, we do also have pretty impressive performing arts and other art collections. A few that I would like to note, as students of the university, you have access to all of this just with your UT ID card for free. But the Bass Concert Hall is basically the flagship theater of the Texas Performing Arts. It is the largest theater in Austin, seats about 3,000 people. It is ranked as one of the finest performing arts spaces in the United States due to its size. The Bland Art Museum showcases art from across the ages, from ancient Greece pottery to expressionism. The Harry Ransom Center was named after a former UT English professor, president, and chancellor of the university. The Ransom Center is a world-renowned humanities research center. It focuses on photography, literature, film, art, and the performing arts. And then we have the LBJ Presidential Library. It's one of my favorite on campus. It's a research library, and it is a museum that covers the presidency of Lyndon Baines Johnson. And last but not least is the Nettie Lee Benson Latin American Collection. Benson is a global destination for research and study. We have people from all over the world come and do research at the Benson Library. It has over 1 million volumes, as well as a wealth of original manuscripts, photographs, and various media related to Mexico, Central and South America, and the Caribbean. Going into student support and resources, as you can see, the university is very large, or as you have heard, the university is very large. It can be a bit decentralized at times, but there are various resources, student support resources available to you. I'm going to start first with Texas Global. As an international student, if admitted to the university, you will work closely with Texas Global, which is the office that I work in. We do have various units within Texas Global. We have an English language center. We have global programs and innovation, ed abroad for those students who may be interested in going outside the United States for study. And then International Student and Scholar Services, which is the unit that I work in, and we help incoming international students. I'm going to focus on ISSS on this next slide because, again, if you do attend the University of Texas, you will work directly with ISSS for all types of support. We provide student immigration advising. We, as the sponsored and exchange programs team, and if you are a Cofuturo Award recipient, you will work directly with Sydney, Kelly, and myself. We all work on the sponsored exchange programs team. Excuse me. So sorry. Excuse me. Our team provides one-on-one services to sponsored students. I would like to point out that we have about 6,000 degree-seeking students at UT. However, as far as sponsored students are concerned, those are students who are sponsored by a US or foreign government or employer. We have about 300, so it's a much smaller population, and that provides us the opportunity to do a bit more one-on-one with our sponsored student population. We help with immigration advising, academic support. We also do special programming for our sponsored student population, and of course, billing. We handle all third-party billing for our sponsored student population. I would like to point out, outside of the academic and immigration support that we do provide all international students, we also provide intercultural support. We have a team dedicated to providing intercultural programming that is to provide international students an opportunity to immerse themselves at the university, in the city of Austin, and also meet other students from other countries, as well as domestic students attending the university. Student resources that are offered outside of Texas Global. There are various support centers. These are just a few, but I would like to highlight them because they are probably the most helpful and most utilized. There's the Gregory Gym and Rec Sports Center for those students who are interested in staying healthy and active while they're here. We have great facilities where you can, we have an indoor track, rooms, things like that. We have a university health center on campus. So if you need to see a doctor for any reason while you're attending your studies at UT, we have a health center right on campus and a pharmacy so you can fill prescriptions. We do have a wonderful counseling and mental health center to provide support in regard to mental health counseling, dealing with homesickness, dealing with stress, because we all deal with stress, but we understand that international students have sometimes different needs because they are in a completely different culture and a completely new environment. And then we have services for students with disabilities. So if any student at UT needs assistance or special accommodations, like more time to take tests, or maybe they struggle with dyslexia, or maybe vision or hearing impaired, any special accommodations in the classroom to assist with those, or you maybe need to take a reduced course load for other reasons, you can work with the services for students with disabilities to get those accommodations. As far as academic support, all students are assigned an academic advisor when they're admitted to the university. And so this person can help you design out your degree plan, the classes that you are going to take, make sure that you're staying on track, that you meet the prerequisites for those courses, help you navigate just the academic system at the University of Texas. There are also, of course, your professors and teaching assistants who offer office hours. We highly recommend to students that they utilize those office hours. Even you don't have to be struggling in the class to utilize those. It could be just to go in and have a conversation with your professor about something you found interesting in class and you want to discuss it further. We have a University Writing Center and the Sanger Learning Center. Both of these are set up to help with tutoring, as well as assistance in writing research papers, doing presentations in English or in the US academic system. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have various libraries across campus. I believe I said 17. A lot of the colleges have their own library designated to them, as well as we have just centralized libraries for students. So plenty of places to get resources. A lot of students also have questions about, campus safety and what resources are available, and UT has many of those. We have our own police department on campus. It's called the UT Police Department, UTPD. We have programs such as SureWalk and UT Night Rides, which SureWalk, if you're studying late at campus and you need, you don't want to walk home by yourself, into West Campus or to your dormitory alone, you can call SureWalk and they'll send a couple of student volunteers to walk with you. UT Night Rides is sponsored by or a partnership with Lyft car service, and all students have free access. You get a certain number of credits to utilize Lyft to take you from campus to your apartment or dormitory. There are emergency call boxes all over the university. So if you're feeling unsafe at any time, or maybe you're not feeling well and you're alone and scared, you can push that little button on the emergency call box and UTPD will be with you in a matter of minutes. I did put a link if you'd like to take note of that, if you'd like to read about additional resources about on-campus safety, as well as further details about the ones I just discussed above. Okay, so we'll go into the admission process. I know this is probably what is most interesting to everybody. So to be considered for graduate admission to the University of Texas, you must meet both the minimum requirements set by the graduate school, as well as the requirements of the individual graduate program to which you are applying to. So often the program's requirements are more rigorous than those set by the graduate school. So it's important to note that there's two sets of requirements. Each graduate program does set their own deadlines. So there's not one deadline, there's multiple deadlines, and requires the submission of additional materials other than that are listed on this screen. The materials, we refer to them as supplemental materials, will vary by program, but they often include things like letters of reference, auditions, work samples, personal statements, things of that nature. Information about required materials is available from the admission coordinator of each program. I did indicate the grad school admission link down there that you can go to get more detailed information. It's broken down by graduate program. Other than those different requirements, the basic requirements to apply for graduate admission is you do need a bachelor's degree from a regionally accredited institution in the US or a comparable degree from a foreign academic institution. You will need to submit certain type of test scores. Again, you'll need to check with the program of interest to determine what types of tests are required. However, as international applicants, you will also need to take a TOEFL or IELTS score. And then again, whatever else is on the common application, you'll need to submit those things by the deadline specified by your graduate program. Applying for admission is simple in that you complete an online application, you pay an application fee, I believe it's $90. You will need to submit your official transcripts from your home university, your test scores, complete all department requirements, and then submit by the deadline specified by your graduate school. I want to stress that those are hard deadlines. There is no option to extend those deadlines. So make sure that you're very aware of all the requirements and the deadlines and get everything in by on time. As far as graduate funding is concerned, there actually is quite a bit of funding available for graduate students at the University of Texas. On the slide, I've listed some various options. Student employment is a big one. If you are able, as an international student, if you attend the university on an F1 or J1 visa, you will have the option to work on campus up to 20 hours per week. In a non-academic title, so you can work at the libraries or the rec sports center, different things like that. Or you can get an academic assignment in an academic department. That would be a teaching assistant, graduate research assistantship, or serve as an assistant instructor. Those positions, the TA, GRA, and AI, in addition to salary, in addition to a monthly stipend that you receive, they often come with or also come with a tuition reduction benefit. And what that means is if you are assigned as a 20-hour per week TA, GRA, or AI, you will automatically qualify for in-state tuition as well as health insurance that's provided by the university. Other options could be receiving fellowships from the graduate school, or from your individual college and department. So you'll just have to inquire about fellowships that are available to you. They do give awards, and the graduate school gives awards throughout the academic years to graduate students for outstanding dissertation, outstanding student employee. They also offer travel stipends for professional development. So there are a lot of options, and if you want more details about these options and how to qualify and how to obtain them, please take note of that link I included at the bottom, because that will outline everything in great detail. Something I do want to point out, as mentioned earlier, is that the University of Texas does have an agreement with CoFuturo, and that agreement does provide waivers of the non-resident cost of tuition. So you'd be paying in-state tuition if you receive the waiver. To be eligible for that waiver, you'd of course have to be admitted to the university. You would have to be in a program that is eligible for a waiver. So really any program other than an option 3 program. So if you are pursuing an option 3 program, unfortunately, you will not be eligible for the tuition benefit. And also you will not you can also have a TA, GRA, or AI from an academic department because that already provides the benefit that the agreement provides. And last, you will have to be recommended by Cofuturo. So as long as, again, you're admitted, you're not in an option 3 program, you do not have any other employment as a TA, GRA, or AI, and you're recommended by Cofuturo, you will be eligible to receive the waiver. Other things to note, just to give you an idea of how much it costs to attend UT, tuition fees for a resident, so those are Texas residents, and those who are TA, GRAs, or AI, it's around $11,000 per year. It could be higher depending on the program that you're in. Non-resident tuition can go up to $24,000 a year. And I do want to just point out that non-resident does not mean international tuition. Anyone who's not a resident of the state of Texas, so it could be anyone from another US state, as well as international students, will pay non-resident tuition. As I said, it's about $24,000 a year. Living expenses will vary. The cost of living in Austin is quite high. The estimate that we ask for students to show in order to issue an immigration document is around $21,000 for the year. I do want to point out that that's a very frugal amount, so that's really to cover basic living. So if you like to go out a lot, or you like to eat out a lot, I recommend you bring more than that, or anticipate spending more than $21,000 a year. Let's see, let's go into, okay, life in Austin. Just to give you a little idea of what it's like to live in Austin, Texas. It is the fastest growing city in America, 12 years running. There was a stat that I read that we have about 184 new residents move here a day. It is a very high-tech city. It's home to Google, Samsung, Tesla, and Facebook, just to name a few. It is the capital of Texas. So we have, a lot of governance happening here. It is the self-proclaimed live music capital of the world. So if you are a music lover, this is the place to be. There's live music. You can find live music any day of the week at a bar or cafe or restaurant. We also host Austin City Limits, or ACL Festival. It's a music festival in the fall, and South by Southwest Movie and Music Festival in the spring. We have multiple live music venues on campus and off campus, so it's a great place to be if you love music. It's a very active city. It's younger than some other cities in Texas, and therefore we have a lot of hike and bike trails, lake life. So if you like to be outdoors, this is a great place to be, except in the summer because it's very, very hot. But it is a very informal city. It's friendly for the most part. We're considered progressive as compared to other cities in the state of Texas, and it is fairly safe. Crime does occur. It occurs everywhere, but for the most part, it is a pretty safe city to live in. Housing, there are a lot of options for housing and off campus. University housing on campus is managed by University Housing and Dining. You apply through the University Housing portal, and you are eligible to apply for housing once you submit your application to UT. You do not have to be admitted first. Residence halls and university apartments are considered university housing. A lot of graduate students do prefer to live in a university apartment or private apartment because on campus, tends to be a little bit, or it's mostly inhabited by undergraduate students. Does not mean undergraduate students can't live there too, but it's mostly undergraduate students. If you'd like to take a virtual tour of the university apartments that are available, as well as the on-campus resident halls, you can go to that link at the bottom and take virtual tours and also get some more information because there are various, like for example, there are 3 different university apartment complexes. Priority, just so you know, is if you want to live in a university apartment, priority is given to graduate students, and especially those that have families. As far as private housing is concerned, just keep in mind it's not affiliated with the university, so we're not really able to assist you in that process. Private housing, they're managed by leasing agencies or individual providers. It does require the signing of a short or long-term lease. There are private dormitories and apartments within walking distance of campus, and of course, apartments further away from campus, which would require the use of the Austin or a bike. I can tell you private dorms do range anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 per month. One big difference is if you live in on-campus housing, that does include a meal plan to eat in dining halls on campus. But if you live off-campus in private housing, then you do not have a meal plan, but that's typically because your housing arrangement comes with a full kitchen. There's another option that some graduate students may like. It's cooperative housing. It's co-ops are student housing. Sorry, it's a house where multiple students live and it's managed by students. And so you usually do a lot of sharing of the housework, vacuuming, cleaning, cooking, things like that. It is very affordable to live in a co-op house, but be very careful when looking for co-op houses because there are some that are more social than others. So just make sure that you're reading the reviews of the co-op house or any housing that you get into, just to make sure that you know what you're getting into before you sign any kind of contracts. I think this is my last slide. So living in Austin, transportation, as I mentioned, there's the CAP Metro public transportation. It is free with your UT ID card. We do have ride shares such as Uber and Lyft, and keep in mind that all UT students get Lyft credits each academic year to use. And then, of course, you can rent bikes and scooters around to get around the city. The weather, it's pretty hot for the most part. I would say summer and fall is kind of hot. Getting into the winter, there's maybe a week where it's super cold and you actually need a jacket, but for the most part, it's pretty mild. The springtime is beautiful here. It's a nice place to study outside, eat outside, things like that. I put a link down there if you want to explore Austin and see the other fun things to do while you're here. At the end of the presentation, I know we have a question and answer session coming up next, so I will do my best to answer those questions. But just if you have to log out for any reason, if you have any follow-up questions for me, I realize I did not put my email address here, but I can provide it in just a second. But if you have questions about grad school programs, there's the link to grad school, and that's it. So I'll stop sharing.
That's perfect, Angela. Thank you so much for this excellent information and presentation. Bueno, perdón, voy a invitar a todas las personas que están aquí presentes para que nos dejen sus preguntas en el cajón de Q&A y yo se las transmitiré a Angela, a Sydney y a Kelly en el caso de que a ellas la quieran responder. ¿Listo? Entonces espero sus preguntas. Well, Angela, we have some questions for you. The first question is about the GPA. Do you require a specific GPA to be admitted in the university?
So again, it's going to vary by the graduate program. I know that for undergraduates, you have to have a minimum of a 3.0. So I imagine graduate school is around that, if not higher, but it's going to depend by the graduate program that you're applying to.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, the second question that we have is, what is the ideal student that it's looking for?
That's a great question. One thing about UT is obviously they want, students who can thrive and be successful in a fast-paced academic setting. With that said, even though they are looking for students with high GPAs and their transcripts with, great grades, and great essays, they do something that's called a holistic review. And so they are also looking at all the other things that you do outside of your academics. So your involvement in other student organizations or clubs, or maybe you maintained a job in tandem with obtaining your, undergraduate degree and still maintained great grades. That's something to stress because it shows that you have great time management skills. So yeah, they're really big on holistic review. And then again, when a department, when a graduate program, they have required supplemental materials like letters of recommendations or portfolios. But then if they have recommended supplemental materials, and I would say if you can provide the recommended, go ahead and do that because that will just make your application much stronger.
Perfect. Well, it's necessary for the application to have the documents apostilled and legalized.
So sorry, does that mean official, like, uh, what do you mean by that? Sorry.
Yes, we in Colombia we have to legalize some documents like the diploma or the the grades that we have in
Oh.
the grade. So Moises is asking if you need this kind of documents legalized and apostilled.
So Sydney and Kelly, I don't know if you know the answer to that any better than I do, so please correct me if I'm wrong. It does have to be an official transcript, and I'm trying to look up, there are very specific ways to submit the
Yeah.
transcript. I'm trying to look that up right now on the website. But as in like TOEFL scores, things like that, they have to come from the testing center. Outside of that, I'm not quite sure. So why don't we go to the next question? I'll see if I can find the answer.
Yeah, of course. Perfect. Well, the next question is, are there any postgraduate programs related to neuropsychology? And what are the enrollment dates for the second period of?
So I'm not sure about the actual programs. You'd have to go to the graduate admissions website to find out what programs are offered. As far as enrollment dates, I can get that for you. We're almost there. So the first date of classes for 2025 would be the first semester will end on December 8th. Spring classes begin January the 12th. And end on April 27th. So August
Perfect.
through April.
Okay. Yes. We have another question about the inscription date. So yeah. Well, we have here a question from for Adriana. So you say that in order to get the tuition waiver, the students should have a recommendation from computer. So is that a letter of recommendation specifically, or how is the process between these two institutions? And the second question is, for international students, is there any test obligation, for example, GRE?
So the first question about the recommendation from Cofuturo, really it's just Cofuturo sends me an email with a spreadsheet of all students that are being offered sponsorship. And as long as you are on that and then meet the UT requirements, we can apply a waiver of the non-resident tuition. As far as international student requirements, so the GRE wouldn't be an international student requirement. I believe that's a general requirement for all grad students. The type of tests that are required per program, again, are going to vary by the program. So you're going to have to look up, I put a link to all graduate programs that are offered. If you go to that link, you can click on the school in which your major, proposed major will fall under and see what's required for admission. But for the only additional thing that international students are required to show as far as testing is the TOEFL or IELTS score, so the English proficiency.
Perfect. Thank
Oh,
you so
you're
much.
welcome.
Well, are there any English program and then enroll in the postgraduate program?
So are there like English support
Yeah.
type of, So yeah, Texas Global, which is the office that I work in, we have an English language center. And I
Mhm.
can get the link to that and put it in the chat. They have various classes available that you can take. Either a lot of graduate students will come the summer before. Most students are admitted for fall and start in the fall. And so graduate students will come in the summer and do some English support classes. It can vary from English support as in just grammar. It can be just presenting in English, writing in English. So there's all different types of English support classes offered by the English Language Center at Texas Global. So I'll drop that link in there in just a second. And then they also have classes that you can take in tandem with your other classes at UT. And there are a few of those English language courses that will count toward your major. And so you can actually get credit for them toward your major. There are a few, but most are separate. It's a different registration process. It doesn't count towards your degree, and it is separate from regular degree seeking tuition.
Perfect, Angela. Well, we don't have any more question for you, so thank you so much again for this information. That's so valuable for us and for this excellent presentation. Angela, Sydney, Kelly, thank you, and I really hope to see you in the next opportunity to share this information to all our students.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to welcoming your students to campus. So have a great day.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
A todos
Bye-bye.
nuestros asistentes, también mil gracias por su participación, interés y por todas las preguntas. Los invitamos a seguir participando en este tipo de espacios para conocer toda la oferta que tiene preparada Estados Unidos y Colfuturo. Muchas gracias y feliz día para todos. Thank you, Angela. Goodbye.
Bye.